Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Health Coach Val Fiott. Today we're talking about testosterone. Now, testosterone affects both men and women. It is a critical hormone. It has a lot to do with our confidence, the way we get through each day, how much we accomplish, and our longevity, our ability to stay out of the hospital as we get older. But it does affect both genders. However, this video is going to be mainly talking to the men. And the reason for that is, for one, it has a much greater effect on men. But also, when we come to talking about the effects on women of having low testosterone, those same symptoms are very reminiscent of other symptoms, like symptoms of having low estrogen, for example, or of other kind of hormone disorders. So it's really tough to talk about certain behaviors that tend to accompany low T in women when there's so many other causes of those same behaviors and same kind of presentations. So anyway, I'm talking mainly to the guys here, but again, a lot of this information will still affect women as well. Before we get into it, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. That's going to help more people see these videos, and it's going to help you get more great videos like this in the future. All right, so we're going to dive right in. First, I'm going to explain a little bit how men with low testosterone, and some women as well, tend to present. All right, and I think I'm especially qualified to explain this because not only have I studied this for 30 years, but in my career, I have actually watched normal testosterone levels plummet. Over the last 4 or 5 decades, testosterone has been gradually declining in men of all ages. And I've been a coach now for 30 years. So I've been there. I mean, I remember what men used to look like, what an average guy, even if he didn't work out, used to look like and seem like compared to now. And so these things, these traits that I'm about to describe to you, these are becoming more and more prevalent because testosterone levels are dropping. I should also mention, too, in my career, I've mostly worked with men over 45. For many years, it was just men over 65. So I've spent a lot of time working very clinically with guys who were middle-aged or older anyway, and who were likely to have seen some testosterone decline regardless. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive in with some of the traits that are common to men with low testosterone. Okay, so men with low testosterone tend to, and believe me, this is not going to be a catch-all for everybody, but they tend to present like this: low muscle mass, low energy, kind of moody. They're often having some trouble sleeping, either falling asleep or staying asleep or getting good productive sleep. They can wake up first thing in the morning, and instead of having what's common to men, which is often a morning erection and feeling a sense of energy and feeling like, okay, ready to take on the day, instead there's this feeling of depression and woe and no libido, no sex drive, very little drive to do pretty much anything. It all ties in with depression, with emotional depression. It all ties in with lethargy, and it certainly ties in with the lack of enough testosterone in the body. It's not to say that you can't have depression for other reasons, of course, certainly you can. But what I'm saying is when you see someone who's presenting in this way and seems to have these traits, generally it's pretty likely they're going to have fairly low testosterone levels. Some other things that you see are sometimes they'll fly off the handle kind of easily. They're anxious and they don't have that sense of confidence and calm that men have when they have higher testosterone. So sometimes they're almost equated. I don't like this comparison, but they're almost equated to like a prepubescent girl in just terms of behaviors and being really moody and irrational. And sometimes when you see a grown man behaving that way, a lot of times, it's not just psychological, it's because those testosterone levels are low and it's really messing with their mood. So these are some of the ways that guys present. Now, when you see someone with low muscle mass, a lot of times what that looks like is this. It's not that they're not, big. It's not about the circumference of their shoulders or anything. It's about like sluggish posture, very slumpy, and just this withdrawn state, not only in their mind and in the way they speak, but even in their body. They'll get kind of slumped forward like this. They're not really standing tall and paying attention and hyper focused and ready to take action. They seem to be the opposite on almost all of those things. And again, this states to the importance of testosterone. When you think about what testosterone, healthy levels do for a guy, they give you that sense of, if there's a problem, I'm going to solve it. I'm going to take charge of things. I want to do work. I want to accomplish. That's what testosterone does for us, and it's so important. And that's why that equates so much to long-term health and happiness and longevity. And when you're shy in testosterone, it's like you just can't do anything. You feel stuck in the mud, you feel angry, you feel irritable, you feel anxious in many cases. Like I said, you don't sleep very well. There's no real sense of calm, and there's not much sense of wanting to produce. It's not like you really want to go out there and conquer and get things accomplished because you just don't have that drive without testosterone levels. All right, so I've talked a little bit about symptoms. Now let's talk about some solutions. So obviously TRT is a big one. Testosterone replacement therapy is a big one. And a lot of people are doing that very successfully. It's not without some risks, but certainly working with your doctor and determining whether those risks are right for you is the right choice. Now, whether you do TRT or not, whichever way you decide you're going to go there, you absolutely need, if you care about your future and if you care about the right now, you absolutely do need to invoke some lifestyle change and some exercise and some nutrition that's going to help move you forward. Even if you're on TRT, and I've seen a lot of guys that say, no, don't worry about it. I'm on replacement therapy. I don't need to do anything. No, you have to. You need to take charge because that TRT, as well as that's going to be able to get you by for now, the body actually needs. It's not just your testosterone. The body actually needs the strength training, the nutrition, the fuel, so to speak. It needs all these natural things that nature intended for the human body. So if you've got low T, what I would say is that, holistically speaking, nature is telling you that you're too far outside of what nature intended of our purpose here as people, that you're too far outside of it. And you can supplement with TRT all you want, but you're still ultimately going to need to make some lifestyle changes so that more things don't start going wrong and so that you can give your body what it's meant to have. So here's what that looks like. Bare minimum 2 days a week of strength training. The strength training's got to be heavy. Once your joints have acclimated after a few weeks or so, it's time to go from light to moderate weights to moderate plus weights. Now, I've got a whole lot of very clinical and specific information that I can give you there on a very personalized level. But for the purposes of this video, please know that training with light weights is only really going to work for you for a very short amount of time. After those few weeks, you've got to get into heavy weights at least twice a week. Preferably more. You'll do a lot better if it's more. And you need to train all the major muscles of your body too. Please don't be someone who skips leg day. Leg day is one of the greatest things you can do for testosterone and growth hormone and lots of other hormones as well. Even if you don't really care what your legs look like, even if you feel like your legs are strong enough for your activities of daily living, you got to train every muscle in your body, all the major muscles anyway. All right, that's going to help a lot with your testosterone and all the things that that leads to, your mood, your confidence, etc. All right, so now let's talk nutrition. Now, nutrition is kind of multi-pronged because nutrition in and of itself can help boost your testosterone levels. Also, nutrition will make your workouts a whole lot more productive because if you're strength training, like I say you need to do, well, you're not really going to gain muscle and really get your testosterone levels right if it's not accompanied by the right nutrition. High quality proteins in the right amounts for your body. Everyone has different needs there. Some people might need 200 or more grams a day. Some people only need about 140, 150. Everyone's different. Some people even less than that. But the point is you need to get the right nutrition and the right strength training if you're going to have a shot at building back your testosterone levels like you deserve. Now, another thing, you do need to stay properly hydrated. This should be the easiest one, but it's so easy to forget about in a busy day. But please understand, if you're not getting enough water throughout the day, hormone secretion is going to be all over the place. And even with the right exercise and the right nutrition, you may not be able to really get your testosterone levels back to where they need to be. Now, there's one more point here, and that's sleep science. Now, as I mentioned earlier, guys that are low in testosterone tend not to sleep all that well. So it might seem a little funny for me to say you need to sleep better when in fact the very problem you're trying to solve is disruptive of your sleep. And I understand that's problematic. What you want to do though is kind of pull out all the different weapons you have that are going to help you with better sleep. So even though the low T might make it so it's harder to fall asleep, that's okay. There's things you can do. For one thing, if your bedtime is around when the sun is coming down, and I know in winter, of course, it's dark at 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, but if your bedtime is coinciding with when the sun is going down, the best thing you can do is be outdoors for that. That's how our bodies are built. We're supposed to be outdoors. We're supposed to be watching the sun come down. And that's what lets the brain slowly know and go into all the different chemistry that it has to do to prepare for sleep. So when we're indoors, and let's say, for example, your bedtime is 10 p.m., hypothetically. And at 9:59, you've got the TV on, you're on your phone doing things, you're getting all this blue light, you've got all these lights on, there's action in the house, the kids are talking, people are talking, and then all of a sudden you say, oh, it's bedtime, okay, going up to bed. And a minute later, you're upstairs, you're shutting off the lights and going to bed. The body is not going to be able to really fall asleep well that way. The brain and really all of your physiology need to gradually ease into bedtime. So, what I said a moment ago about being outdoors and watching the sun come down, that's ideal, that's optimal. But since we can't always do that, what you want to do then is try to sort of simulate that in your home. And by shutting off some lights about 30 or 40 minutes before bed, try to just go to, if you have a dimmer switch, that's the best, but try to be in an environment that's a little bit darker. Don't use your phone or any electronics right before bed. That blue light and some of the EMFs from your phone and other digital electronics can really damage some people's ability to fall asleep. So you don't want those for about 30 or 40 minutes prior to bedtime. Little TV's okay if it's far enough away from you. That's not too bad, but still not optimal. In a perfect world, you're getting more and more into a state of calm before bed. You're easing your way down into your slumber. And any thoughts on your mind, any worries about the big meeting at work tomorrow or anything like that at all, write down, grab a pen. Don't do it on your phone. Grab a pen and actually just write down what your concerns are. So when you wake up, you deal with them then. The idea is you want to go to bed feeling like you're very calm, you're very ready to just fall asleep and really get a good night's sleep. Because truly, that is one of the biggest components to rebuilding lessened testosterone levels. So anyway, guys, we've talked about a lot of things here today. Please let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, what your questions are, what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. I also want you to know that nutritionally, I'm going to go ahead and give you a list right here. It's a free download of all the foods that I'm going to recommend that will help you to gain more testosterone. And sometime in the future, I'll put together something in terms of your exercise science and what that should look like as well. So for now, you've got that free download about nutrition. Let me know your questions. Thanks so much for visiting, and I'm looking forward to your health and your wellness success.